Okay, in this video lesson what we're going to do is start taking a look at graphical user interface functionality for our Evil Monkeys level editor. And we're calling this the GUI Functionality Part 1, subtitled Packages and Levels, because there's a lot of functionality to implement here.
Oh, definitely.
And this is really the start of something that's going to become very tedious and very complicated and very long.
Yes.
Okay? We've got a lot
Mostly long.
Yeah, we've got a lot of typing to do, and tedious too, to
Yeah.
keep up with everything that's going on if you're completely new to what's happening here. So in this particular video, we're going to start looking at how we can get the package and level handling or management systems in place in our level editor. This is really where we start to veer away from the old way of doing levels inside of Evil Monkeys, which was just random generation.
Yeah.
Now we want to start having levels that are housed within a package, and the number of levels, of course, define the length of the game. And we need to get that all into place. Now, we're not going to write anything out to your hard disk yet.
Nope.
No file saving the package which
fact,
contain the levels.
In fact, after this, you won't actually see anything in the viewport as well.
Right. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But we've got to get this engine in place, if you will.
Yep.
So anyways, what we're doing, of course, is saving the package with the contained levels in memory. Now, Joel, anything you want to add to that, or let's just start talking about our objectives?
Yeah, let's just start talking about the objectives. Firstly, we're going to add variables relating to packages and levels. So we have our package, which is basically going to hold a list of each of our levels.
Okay.
So each level is going to have information about its width, its height, as well as the actual grid of information. So where's the wall, where's the player start, etc., etc. Level index is going to hold an integer value that holds which level we're currently looking at. Current level is going to basically hold which level we're actually. It's going to be a pointer to our level structure.
Right.
And step 2 is we're going to do create package and level editing functions in header. So we're going to have a create new level function, which is going to be called by both on new package and on new level, and basically it just creates a new level inside of our package a list, if you will. Then we have set current level, which is going to be used by the arrow button, so we can change
the previous to next.
Right, and it's basically just going to change the current level.
Right.
From there, we're going to implement the on new package and on new level event handlers, which are going to, as we said before, create the new levels, give us a message box saying how big it wants it to be, etc. And from there, we're going to implement the create new level and set current level functions, get that all in place, so that at that point we'll be able to make sure that this is working. And then from there, we're going to implement the on-toolbar clicked event handler, which will allow us to have the next and previous buttons working properly.
That's right. So, believe it or not, this is quite a bit of stuff.
Yes, it is.
Again, as I've said in the last several lessons, we're just going to kind of chill out, relax, have a little fun with it, because there's a lot of concepts going on here, and there's going to be a lot of typing, and I think that a few of our viewers out there may find themselves needing to watch this video more than once.
Right.
But maybe not.
And if you have to, don't worry about it. Don't think you're stupid. It's just there is a lot to handle.
There's
here.
just a lot here.
So let's go back over into, well, for the first time, go over into .NET, and let's start with the header file, as we were saying before. And let's start out by creating the level info structure that I was telling you about. That's going to hold the width and the height of each level, along with the data. So this is going to be a struct, and we're going to call it level info. And inside of here, that we're going to have two integers, the grid in x, the size, and also the, oh, actually, I'm supposed to use a semicolon here. 1 second. So we have our grid y as well, which is going to be the width and the height.
Right.
And then we're going to have a double pointer for our grid, just like we did in the original Evil Monkeys game. So it's going to be a two-dimensional array. And from there, the other thing we need to create is a list of these level info structures. So it's going to be a package that holds all of these different levels. So basically what we need is a list that holds level underscore info pointers. And we'll just call this a package. However, what we want to do is basically be able to create, say, we want to define it as package, my package list. Well, we could create a structure that holds this list structure, but a more easy way to do this would simply be to use a type def. So anywhere where it sees package, it's going to replace it with this right here. Okay. So by simply specifying package right here, the compiler is going to take this and copy and paste it into here. So it's just an easier way conceptually. So with that in place, we also need to tell the compiler where list actually is. So let's go up to here and include our list structure. So our list header file, excuse me. And let's just say using namespace std. So we're using the standard library.
That's right.
Now, if we go back to here, that does create the actual structure that we need. Now we need to create the actual implementation of these inside of our header. So let's go back to here. Just trying to keep you guys in key on how we're following our structure here. So come down to here, and let's create a new package pointer. And we're creating a pointer here simply because we're going to be creating a new one, deleting it if they create a new package, etc. And from there, let's see, we also need our level index. And we also need our level info pointer that's going to point at the current level. And this is just going to be useful for when we're dealing with whatever level is currently selected. It's easier than going through this package list.
Right.
It makes life a whole lot easier. So with that's all we need to do inside the header file. Actually, except for right here, we also say that we're going to create the package and level editing functions in header. So let's go back into here, and let's just add these guys as well. So if we come down to here, create a private section, and let me just make it look a little bit neater. So we're going to create a new level, and we're going to return a Boolean value, and we're simply going to have no arguments inside of that. And we're also going to have something that returns void, and this is going to be our set current level, which, as I said before, is simply going to change whatever current level is holding.
Right.
Some other little things as well, but mostly just error handling. And we're going to pass it which level info is going to be the current level. And let's go back to context just to kind of stay in focus. So we have this created, and now it's just a matter of writing code and implementing it all.
Looks like we're almost done.
Oh yeah, we're halfway done. I wish.
Illusion.
So let's go back to level editor, and let's go to the source file.
Okay.
And the very beginning, let's make sure that package is equal to null, because that is something that we need to initialize before we actually do anything. So let's now scroll down, and other than that, let's go ahead and create the onNewPackage function. Okay. So if we go onNewPackage, the first thing we're going to do is hold a pointer to the old package. And I'll explain why in a second. So we're going to hold the pointer to the old one, and we're going to say int old level index, hold the old level index as well. Basically, if something goes wrong, we want to be able to restore whatever package was there before. And that's really important, so that, say you enter an incorrect size, say 00 for a level, and then it returns back to here and says, wait, they create a bad package, but we've already deleted the old package.
Right.
So now you're kind of up a creek. So saving this is important. Then we're going to say package equals new package. So notice we haven't deleted the old package yet. We're saving it just in case. And then we're going to set level index equal to 0. At this point, we're going to say if not create new level. Now remember, the create new level is going to do all the work for us. We've already created the package. That's really all the onNewPackage is different from. onNewLevel is just going to call create new level, and in onNewPackage we want to add an initial level into our package. So if not new package, this means if it didn't work, if it failed, because remember, our create new level is going to return to us a Boolean value saying whether or not this worked.
Right. Which basically, if not, we need to restore. So delete out the
delete
package?
the newly created package.
Right.
And simply say package equals the one that we stored up above, and as well as our level
Set
index.
our level index back
to equal level index.
Right.
Otherwise, everything should have worked properly, and we can simply say else, do whatever we need to do here. Delete the old package, first of all, because we know, okay, we don't need to save this anymore. Go ahead and delete it. And then we also want to make sure that we say menu file, allow them to create a new level, because up above we said do not let them create a new level until we have a package.
Exactly.
So we enable ID underscore new level, and we set it to true. And we'll enable the other two buttons as well, or disable them, because if we're creating a new package, that means we're starting out with 0 levels, so we want to make sure the next and previous buttons are disabled. And we can just copy the code right up here and paste it in here, just trying to save some time. And with that, that's all there is to the onNewPackage function. For the onNewLevel, as I said before, it's very simple. Create new level. Done. Because we can assume at this point that if they were able to press the new level button, a package must have been created. So we don't need to do any error handling, if you will. So let's go back to the app frame. And just real quick, let's go back to context here. And step number 3 is done. We're more than halfway done.
Hey.
Exciting. So at this point, we need to implement the create new level and set current level function. So let's go back to .NET here. Let's just copy these two guys right here and go down to the very bottom and create these two.
All right, create new level. This is kind of the workhorse here.
Yeah, this is going to do most of the work for this lesson anyway. So
Matter of fact, just so we don't forget, I mean, I know we're not going to forget, but go ahead and jump down to line 131 and finish that one up.
Yeah, okay.
Quick. Yeah.
Okay, just for completeness.
Sure.
At this point, the first thing we're going to do is we need to get a number from the user that says the x, basically the width and height of our new level.
That's right. We need number of columns and rows.
And again, WX has a great function that says get WX, get number from user. And this function right here is going to return to us a number that the user enters. So we'll store whatever is returned in that function into the variable x. So we'll say the first argument to this function is the caption, what it's going to display. So we'll say enter the number of columns for the new level. And we'll just end that off. And we're also going to need to pass, there's the main message that it displays, and right next to where you input the text, it has a little label. And the second one is that little label, so we'll just say, in this case, we want to enter the number of columns. And then aside from that, we're also going to say, this is the caption, so the third argument is going to be the thing, the title bar, if you will. So, new level. And then let's see. After that, we're going to enter the default value, so it's going to be a default value of 10, and the range. So, what values can we actually enter for this? So we want to enter a value between, say, 0 and 100. And finally, the parent's going to be this. So, a lot to type there. Then we're going to say if x is less than 1, basically if it returns 0, we know that it has an error of some kind. So we can say if x is less than 1, that means something went bad, so we just return false. Now let me just kind of recap on what we did up here. Remember, we check right here to make sure that it sent us true or false. And if it successfully created the new level.
That's right.
So we want to return false here, then that wouldn't return it, and then it would work appropriately.
Right.
So let's just copy this line because there's no way I'm retyping all of that, and just say get the number of rows for the new level, and this is going to be rows, and then everything else is going to be exactly the same. So we're basically going to have two input boxes that the user is supposed to check. And again, we do the exact same test. If it's less than 1, return false. It didn't work. And from there, we're going to create a new level info for our level. So we're going to say current level equals new level underscore info. So that creates a new info. And now what we're going to need to do is actually add this into our package. So because this is a list structure as we've used before, use the member function push back and current level.
And if I recall, we spent a while talking about using push and all that good stuff, all the way back on VTM number 3 when we made the original Evil Monkeys code.
Right, where we actually had to use it quite a bit.
Right.
So with that set up, we also need to set up the level index. So level index is going to equal the size of our package. So the size of our package just simply returns the number of levels that we currently have. And we want level index to point at the last one, so we simply say that. And let's cast it to an integer just so it doesn't give us a warning. So with that, we also want to set the current levels grid x and grid y. So we can say grid underscore x equals whatever the user passed into us. So grid x equals x. And for the second one, grid y is going to equal y. Now, for the important part, we now need to allocate memory. If I just go back over into the frame here, there's a double character pointer here. We need to allocate the memory necessary to hold the information for this size level. So if we come back over into here, let's go ahead and do that. And it's going to be exactly the same as for Evil Monkeys. So if you kind of don't know how this code is working, go back to the original VTM3, kind of check it out and see how it works. So we're going to declare a character pointer that holds the size of the number of x columns that we have, the number of columns we have. And then we're just going to loop through and allocate all the memory for the columns. So let's see. integer I equals 0, and then I is less than current level dot grid x and I plus plus. And then we simply say current level grid at x. We're going to allocate new memory for this as well. So just say new character and then current level grid y. You're going to say something?
Yeah, I was just wondering about that right there. That needs to be an I.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
So aside from that, we got all the memory we need allocated. Now let's go ahead and initialize everything to 0. This can kind of ensure that everything is blank to begin with. So let's create another for loop here that says simply x equals 0. We're going to do an x and y loop. And again, there's a lot of typing here. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy. That's what I would do. So you get that. And then we're going to set the current level at grid x, y equal to 0.
All right, now go ahead and go back over that nice and slow, just since there wasn't much talking going on there. Just
yeah, sure.
The loop within the loop stuff.
This right here?
Yeah.
Basically, all I'm doing is looping through all the x variables, all the columns in our thing, and then we're going to...
As we stop at each one, we then go all the way through the row.
All the way through each row, and then we're going to set every single element equal to 0.
Right.
So yeah. From there, we're going to set the current level equal to current level. And we're going to implement set current level in just a second. And as I said, that just basically sets everything up to work properly. Next thing we're going to do is if level index is greater than or equal to 2, so if we have more than 2 levels, more than or equal to 2 levels, what we're going to do is enable the 2 toolbars, enable the previous level toolbar. Since we're going to be at the end, we don't want the next level toolbar to be enabled.
Right.
So let's go up here and just copy this code. Come all the way back down here. Paste this in here. So previous level, we want this to be set to true, and next level set to false.
Okay.
So at that point, that's everything we need for that. The final function we need to implement is the set current level function. So let me just get the correct page here. And so here we are. As we did before, as I was saying, we set current level equal to whatever is passed into us. And let's see, what else do we need to do here?
One thing before we get too far away from the create new level, go ahead and cruise back up and take a peek at its return type.
Yes, return type is set
It's
to
a bool, so let's go ahead and just make sure we
true.
return a true.
Yeah, very
good
nice.
deal.
Awesome. So, and set current level, there's going to be more code dealing with graphics in a minute here.
Right.
But at first, pretty much all we need to do is update the information that's in the caption and in the base level, in the status bar. So what we're going to do here is create a new WX string. We're going to call this new title. So this is going to be the title bar on the top of our application, our level editor. It's going to equal level editor for evil monkeys, level, and then space, and then we're going to fill in what actual level we're looking at right now. And of course, that's going to be held in our level index. So using the format command, format member function, if you will. So we say member title plus equals WX string format, and we're going to pass it %d for decimal, and then we're passing it level index.
Very nice. And then just set the title.
Yep. So set title equal to new underscore title. And we're going to do pretty much the same thing for the caption, except we're going to use set status text instead. So let me just kind of copy this. A lot of this is going to be exactly the same. So right here, what we're going to do is say status info. And we want to display the width and height of the currently viewed level. So we'll change this to level size. Let me kind of capitalize the L here. And with the, we're just going to add the width and the height. So format x %d, and then we're just going to put in here current level grid underscore x and current level grid underscore y. And now, remember, when we do this, when we have 2% Ds, it's going to be expecting 2 commas with 2 separate variables where it's going to grab information from.
Precisely. Now all we need to do is just set the status text and just give it the status info and tell it which column we're putting it in.
Right, and in this case we're putting in the second one since it's zero-based.
Exactly.
And the same thing, let's just copy this, all of this, and for this one, well actually, I think that's almost everything we need. All we need to do is set the current level. Yeah, we don't really need all of that. So what we're going to do is set the status info, use the same variable, and set the current level.
We still have level index, so
yeah,
just use that.
So level index plus equals wx string, and we'll format it with just 1% d, so 1 decimal value.
And level index.
Level index, and then just set the status text, the third one,
which will be 2.
And
there you go. Yeah, that's about it.
That's about all there is to it.
Whew.
So that's, if we go back to context, our great thing over here, we've just implemented this as well as this function. It should compile right now, and it should work, but the only thing that won't work is the next and previous buttons.
Let's go ahead and compile just to make sure we don't have
any weird errors.
Very easy to do typos with so much typing.
So, it's good to add semicolons. Semicolons are a good thing. Let's see. So, let me just look at this for a second here. Less level info. Dun dun. Type def list. Level info. Ah, right here. My bad. Almost missed a very important semicolon there. Well, I did miss it. Okay. Right here, do not forget to add your app frame here. Got carried away with typing and completely forgot to add this. So let me just copy this and do the same thing for this bottom thing here. So let me compile this. Okay, spelled one thing wrong here.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Right,
okay, so only 4 typos. That's not too bad.
Not too bad, no.
And we should be able to run this, just so you guys can see where we are at the moment. Looks pretty much the same, but we can now come to File, New Package, and it brings up this, where we say enter the number of columns for the new level, and you can use the up and down arrows. Great stuff. So we press OK to this, it asks for the rows, and if you look down here, we're now looking at the new level, which is awesome. And we can come up to File, New Level, and if we create a 15 by 15, it updates it. We're now looking at current level 2, and the level size is 15 by 15.
That's right. And even though it's non-functional up on the toolbar, you now see that we can do previous.
Right. So the last thing we're going to do in this lesson is implement this functionality.
Right.
So let's exit out of this and go up to our on toolbar clicked event, and just let me kind of get to my notes here so I don't make any terrible mistakes. Okay. And let me just set this to, let's see, where do we want to start? Bool changed equals false. And basically what this allows us to do is say at the beginning, if we need to update something, changed, if that's set to true, sometime inside this function, at the very end we'll update the view or do any changes we need to do. So here we're going to switch to the event.getID. And basically all this is saying is that we're going to check which ID was passed to us in the event, and that's
we need to know which arrow was just pressed.
Right, which arrow was just pressed, which command item was just pressed.
Right.
So, in case he was the TLB previous level, do something. So let me kind of just put these back a little bit. And break otherwise. Now in previous level, this is very simple. We just say if the level index is greater than 1, because it is 0-based, we're going to say level index minus minus. Just go back a level.
Yep.
And we're going to set changed equal to true, so that something has changed, so be sure to update whatever it needs to change. So secondly, actually we can just copy all of this because it's almost identical. So TLB next level, and all we need to do is say if it is less than the size of our package, so package.size, we don't want to go past the number of levels that we have, ++, set changed equals to true, Then if we come down to here, what we're going to need to do is say if something really did change, we're going to have to do something. And what it's going to do is it's going to iterate through the package that we have, which is a list, and make any changes it needs to, find the current level, and set it to that level. So we're going to create an iterator. So a level info pointer, an iterator for this guy. So iterator. We'll just call this IT. And we'll set I equal to 0, which is going to hold the current index into the iterator. And then we're going to just loop through this iterator. So we're going to start out at the beginning, set the iterator equal to the beginning. If iterator does not equal the very end, package does not equal the end, IT plus plus, so go to the next item in package and set the index up 1. And then what we're going to do is say if I equals whatever the current level index is, so level index minus 1, right? We say exactly the same, that's funny. Then we're going to need to...
Oh, we need to set the current level.
Right, we're going to set the current level equal to...
and then IT. Yeah.
And
we break out of that.
Yeah, and then we break out of that. And that's all there is to it.
Okay. And then, of course, we have our toolbars that we need to make sure we're
kind of update.
Yeah.
So let's just take this code right here because it's almost the same and put that right here.
Okay.
And basically all we need to do is make sure that whichever the previous level button, if we're at the beginning, do we want to be able to press more to the previous level? Of course not. So let's just go up to here and say level index does not equal 1. So as long as the level index does not equal 1, set that to true.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with the next level, we do the same thing, same general idea anyway. Does not equal package levels, package size. So the size of our package, then set next level to be enabled actually. So with that, hopefully I haven't made any serious typos and it should work. So let's compile this.
Okay. Boy, lots of fun when you're dealing with so much code.
Yeah, let me go ahead and exit this. And I just gave a simple error. I just need to recompile. So let me go ahead and rebuild the solution.
Whew.
Lots of typing, eh?
Yeah. All right.
So no errors. If we run this, let's go ahead and create a new package. And of course these remain disabled for now. If we go to File, New, let's create a 10 by 10 level. So now we are pointing at current level 2. If we go back, we're now pointing at current level 1 with 1515. Go to next level. Level size is 1010 and current level is 2. So everything works exactly as we wanted it to.
And you can't go further to another level because there are no more levels.
It is now disabled.
That's right. Okay, so
Alrighty.
Going back to context real quick.
All right.
That's pretty much going to bring this particular lesson, which is the GUI Functionality Part 1, Packages and Levels, to a close.
Yep.
We've gone in there and we've got a management system in place now to handle a package containing levels.
Right, now we simply need to show it so the user can see something.
That's right, and we have implemented some basic functionality. As you can see, we're slowly walking our way around the user interface, allowing the user now to do a new package, a new level, as well as go in there and use the back and forwards buttons inside the toolbar.
Exactly.
And with that, that's going to wrap up this lesson. Thanks a lot.